Hey everyone, Hood here with the TruckingMBA and the VLocity Group, and it's one of these things. I'm sitting here working on the coursework for the TruckingMBA, and there's one of those articles that came across that I took a look at, and the title was "Truck Drivers' Pay is Unbelievably Low," and it's this type of, how do I say it, clickbait. I mean, there's nothing better than that. Clickbait articles that just infuriate me. I mean, just piss me off when I see it. There's a couple things. So now, before anybody goes and gets all worked up over, well, I'm not making enough, and yes, pay is low, and that's an issue in the industry. I'm not saying that truck drivers don't need to be making more money, because I believe that there is a disparity in terms of what a truck driver does and where their pay is. But where I have the issue is what is missing in these articles. So there's a couple things that are really missing in these articles. And I'm going to take a step back to when I got my CDL. Now, when I got my CDL, there was a word protect. And there was two things that I was told that I needed to make sure that I protected. Number one was the motoring public. Safety. Protect the people in the vehicles around you, because they don't know what can happen. They don't have the experience in understanding that how difficult it is to control a truck that could be as much as 80,000 gross vehicle weight, or a bobtail where you can't really stop as quick as you can if you're loaded. So you need to be the person that understands that. So protect the motoring public was the first protect. The second protect was protect your CDL. This is your moneymaker, right? This is, if you're a stripper, stay in shape, right? That's your moneymaker, being in shape. If you got a CDL, that is your moneymaker, right? Now, what we're seeing here, and I have some experience around this, because since we've sold our trucking company and now we're working in the safety and compliance area, and we help carriers onboard new drivers, we see carriers who could bring on 100 drivers in a month, just like that. Not a problem. But the problem comes in is very few of those drivers are qualified drivers, are people that you actually want to see on the road. So that's part of the problem, that when these people saying these drivers are an OTR driver, a driver on the road, is making $47,000 a year. And let me tell you, if you have a clean CDL and you are making $47,000 a year, that is a problem. I know for a fact, and before I put this video out, I did some research on multiple different locations, and I know for a fact, if you have a clean CDL, when I say clean, you got more than 2 years experience, no more than 3 minor traffic violations, no excessive speeds, no significant accidents, a tow away, a lot of damage that's taken place within the past 3 years, you can make $80,000 a year as an over-the-road truck driver, and you don't even have to try. You really don't. Now, if you have problems, here's what's going to happen. You're going to go to companies that are going to promise you a lot of money. They're going to pay you on 1099. They're going to do all sorts of games. And while they may say you can make $80,000 a year, you're lucky if you can make 50. Now, the other thing that they completely ignore is there's a lifestyle factor to this. And I get it. And I used to tell my employees all the time, you don't know what it's like to live in a fiberglass box 2-3 weeks at a time. If you have never driven a truck, if you haven't been out over the road, if you haven't been out there for 3 weeks at a time, then you don't know what it's like, what the loneliness and the despair and the things that can come into your mind while you're out there and you can't see your family and you can't sleep in your own bed, and you've got all the noise and you've got everything that goes on with being a truck driver. You just don't know. So what happens with this is these drivers who get out there, they get a CDL and they just cannot handle, or it's not worth it. Making $80,000 a year is not worth it to them. So what they do is they take a local job making $15 an hour or less, delivering Coca-Cola or something else that gets them home every night. And now those numbers are included in all this. And the reason those companies can pay less money is because they know there are people out there with CDLs that do not want to go over the road. So these are the things that when I take a look at it, just absolutely infuriates me that people don't stop and take a look at the big picture, and they just talk about that one average number, because that average is what it is that's an average. There's numbers below and there's numbers above. And an over the road CDL driver with a clean record can make $80,000 to $100,000 a year today with very little effort finding that job with a good company. Thanks a lot, guys. Talk to you soon.